All right, let's be real for a second. When you hear the words sales training, what comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's a chore, right? Just another meeting crammed into an already packed calendar. But what if I told you that's a totally backward way of looking at it? We're going to dive into how the absolute best companies on the planet see training not as a task, but as their #1 weapon for dominating their market.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. High-performing sales teams look at sales training initiatives as a must-have sales program. You see, the top-tier teams, they treat training like it's a core part of the business. It's just as crucial as their CRM system, just as non-negotiable as their sales targets. It's not some fluffy nice-to-have. Nope, it's a must-do. And you know what? That one little shift in perspective, it changes absolutely everything.
Okay, so here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to define what sales training even is in the modern world. Then, we'll get into why it's so darn important. After that, we'll talk about how to actually build a killer program, and, this is the big one, how to make the learning actually stick. And to wrap it all up, we'll take a peek into the future of selling. Sound good? Let's jump in.
All right, first things first. What is sales training really? I mean, what are we actually talking about here? Because I can promise you, it's a whole lot more than just some dusty old playbook on making cold calls.
Okay, if there's one word I want you to take away from this definition, it's this one: continuous. See, great sales training isn't a one-and-done workshop you attend in January and forget by February. No way. It's an ongoing process. Think of it like a pro athlete staying in shape. It's about constantly sharpening skills, keeping up with new knowledge, and tweaking behavior so your sellers can master every single part of the deal, from that initial outreach all the way to getting that signature.
And a really solid program? It's got to touch on all of this stuff. We're talking about the fundamentals, right? The actual sales techniques and methods. Of course, you need deep product and market knowledge, but it's also about the softer skills, that whole art of building real, genuine relationships with customers. And yeah, it also means your team has to be masters of your internal sales process, and let's face it, all the tech and tools you're paying for.
So, we've got the what down, but let's get to the really important question: why? Why is this so critical? Well, think about it. Buyers are smarter than ever, and the competition is fierce. In a world like that, having a well-trained sales team isn't just a nice little perk. It's your secret weapon. It is your key strategic differentiator. And the impact? Oh, it's incredibly tangible. We're talking about stuff you can actually measure. For starters, you're going to get your new reps ramped up and hitting their numbers way faster. Your entire team gets more productive, and you know what that means? Higher win rates, bigger deals. But it's not just about the raw numbers. It builds confidence, it creates consistency across the board, and, this is huge, it helps you fight back against seller burnout and that crazy expensive revolving door of turnover. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory, this is real-world proof. Check this out. There's a company called Star Compliance. They put a modern training program in place, and the results were, well, they were staggering. They doubled their average selling price. Doubled. Their win rates for new customers shot up by 17%, and they started closing deals 35% faster. Now those are the kinds of numbers that make everyone in the C-suite sit up and pay attention. I mean, those results are pretty incredible, right? So that leads to the million-dollar question. How do you actually build a program that can deliver that kind of impact? Well, let's break it down. We're going to walk through a really practical blueprint. The good news is, this doesn't have to be some super complicated, overwhelming thing. This 5-step framework is a fantastic starting point. It all begins with step 1, assess and analyze. You got to figure out where the real skill gaps are on your team. Then, you develop a curriculum that's laser-focused on plugging those gaps. Step 3, you pick your methods. How are you actually going to deliver this stuff? 4 is huge. Coach and reinforce. And then the final critical piece of the puzzle, review and improve. You look at the data to see what's working, and that feedback loop takes you right back to the beginning. It's a living, breathing cycle of improvement. Now, when it comes to how you deliver the training, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. You've got options. On one hand, you have virtual training. It's awesome because it's scalable and way more cost-effective. The catch? You absolutely need a skilled facilitator to keep people from zoning out. On the other hand, there's good old in-person training. It's super immersive, the engagement is through the roof, and it's great for team bonding. The downside? It costs a lot more, and it means pulling your sellers out of the field. So what's the real sweet spot? Honestly, for most teams, it's a blended approach, mixing and matching to get the best of both worlds. Okay, this next part. This is where so many great training initiatives fall apart. It's the moment of truth. You can have the most amazing content, the world's best instructors, but it all means nothing if the learning doesn't stick.
So how do you take all that great knowledge from the workshop and actually embed it into your team's day-to-day workflow?
I mean, we've all seen it, right? It's so frustrating. You pour time, you pour money into a training program, everybody seems fired up and engaged, but then Monday morning rolls around and poof, it's like it never even happened. It's all gone. So what gives? Why do so many programs that start with the best intentions just fizzle out?
Well, the hurdles are definitely real. You've got your veteran reps, the ones who are maybe a little resistant to change, thinking, I've been doing it this way for 20 years. You've got the simple fact that everybody is slammed, just totally crunched for time. It's tough to keep sellers engaged, especially if it's virtual. Plus, if the content doesn't feel immediately relevant to the deals they're working on right now, you can bet they're going to tune out. And then there's the big one. You've got to prove the ROI to the higher-ups.
So, the answer isn't just to throw a better, flashier one-day workshop. The real solution is a two-pronged attack. First, you have to make learning a daily habit through continuous reinforcement, and second, you have to prove its value to the business with cold, hard data. And proving that value means tracking the KPIs that actually matter. Think about it. When you can walk into your boss's office and show them a chart that says, hey, since we started this training, our win rate is up, our sales cycle is shorter, and our new hires are hitting quota faster, that completely changes the conversation. Suddenly, training isn't just another expense on a spreadsheet. It becomes a strategic, high-return investment.
All right, so we know how to build a solid program for today. But now let's do a little future gazing. Let's look over the horizon, because the world of sales training is changing at lightning speed, and there are some seriously cool trends that are about to change the game for everyone. First up, say goodbye to one-size-fits-all training. The future is all about hyper-personalization. Instead of forcing your entire team to sit through the exact same content, imagine this. A brand new rep gets assigned drills on basic objection handling, while at the same time, your top-performing veteran gets served up a masterclass on advanced negotiation strategy. It's all about giving each individual person exactly what they need, right when they need it, to get to the next level.
Next, let's talk about AI-powered coaching, because this is a legitimate game changer. We're talking about AI that can simulate incredibly realistic sales calls. This lets your reps practice their pitch, handle tough objections, or try out a new value prop anytime, day or night. And here's the kicker. The AI gives them instant, totally objective feedback. That's something even the best human manager just can't do for their entire team at scale.
And the third big trend is that learning is becoming part of the job itself. It's woven right into the daily workflow. So forget about blocking off an entire Tuesday for a training session. This is about micro-learning, bite-sized, on-demand content. Picture this. You're 5 minutes away from a huge negotiation call. You can literally pull up your phone and watch a 2-minute video on closing tactics to get yourself prepped. That's the power of just-in-time learning.
You know, this quote really brings it all home. Training is the engine of sales execution. It's so true. The absolute best sales organizations out there, they understand they can't just hire talented people and then hope for the best. They know they have to actively build great sellers day in and day out through smart, continuous, and strategic development. And that really leaves us with one last big question for you to think about. When you look at your own company, how is sales training viewed? Is it just another line item expense on the budget that needs to be controlled? Or is it truly seen as the powerful, strategic, competitive advantage that it can be? Because honestly, the answer to that question could change absolutely everything.